Some people in this world just seem to connect with nature. Their heart longs to help other living things, even if it means stress and expense to themselves. In the case of our travels today, we met with a woman who heals birds with her knowledge, heart, and soul. We met with her at a small farm in Plum Branch, South Carolina. Her name is Lori Barba.
As nature has always been my refuge, I've always spent a lot of time in it. I went to college to be a park ranger. I spent all of my youth during my summers volunteering for a veterinarian's office. So a lot of the things just have come together in my life now, kind of a mishmash of park ranger and veterinarian care. But when I was about 20 years old, one of the places I lived had a beautiful little marsh down the road, and when I'd come home from work, I would go take a walk into the marsh, and I would go and I'd sit and I'd just crawl in there amongst all of the, vines and tangles and sit and be quiet, and I'd watch all of the little marshy birds, and it was my joy, it was my peace. And one day I just had this notion to say, God, would you please let some birds just land on me? I promise I won't tell anyone. And I just sat there in the quiet and I was like, that's not true. I would tell someone. How could I not tell someone that? And I was like, never mind, I'm not going to ask that. And I think that, so I'm 47 now, so that's quite some time ago, but it dawned upon me when we purchased this property for the sanctuary. And I have the marsh here on the property, which is one of my favorite habitats. I was just down there and I recollected that moment that I asked if I could please have little birds land on me. And I feel like God said, well, yeah, actually I put that desire in your heart because I have this journey for you already planned. And not only can you tell people about it when birds land on you, but you will have to tell people about it because the birds need you to advocate for them. Songbirds are really unique to me because of their songs, the diversity of their songs, the diversity of their plumage. And they, are the little bush birds that you might not even see, but you hear them loudly. And then you'll have other birds that are quite raucous, like the crows and blue jays, who display themselves with such character, and they're so interesting. And, there's just so much to learn about birds that you really can't ever get bored. Every nesting season, I know I'm going to have a species in that I might know, say a warbler, the diet that it needs, but this particular warbler, maybe I've never had it in captivity before, or just migration season when you've got a lot of birds migrating and there's a lot of window collisions, and I'll take in an adult bird that is fascinating, and there's just always room to learn more about birds. They're just their secret inner lives and their out loud lives that everybody can see. Although I do feel like a lot of people overlook songbirds. And I feel like it's sad because they are really what gives the earth such magic and song, So I think songbirds are a piece of my heart. They cause you to look up, to the expansive skies. I think they give you hope. They give me hope.
Lori sees what most of us are blind to. We don't see the poisoned or severely injured birds. They disappear into the brush when they're hurt. As someone who rescues birds, the injured, suffering, and dying, she is on the front line.
I'd say that songbirds are under great attack from chemical pollution, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides. We need insects. And people don't understand that. Even the landscape of non-native landscaping where you can see someone's yard. It might look beautiful and have a large array of flowers and shrubs, but it's a desert for insects and wildlife. You need insects to feed the birds. But then you introduce domestic animals like dogs and cats, especially during nesting season. A large majority of birds are brought into rehab because of cats. They're non-native, they're domestic, and they're basically wildlife terrorists, and they should definitely be kept indoors, but they kill on average about 6 billion birds a year. And, that's a lot. And then, of course, traffic, all of the city lights that get them off of their migration paths, even just our home windows that look like a clear shot into another space, and they collide and have head injuries, back injuries. Sometimes they're killed right away. Sometimes they're in rehab for months at a time. Sometimes you have to euthanize them because they'll never mend. So they're suffering largely due to many factors. Different species have different habits, and if you're concerned for a bird, call a rehabber. I mean, if you just call and find out that it's doing its natural fledging thing, that's good news, right? But sometimes the bird does need help.